Welcome back to Factorio, the building the Hyperbase. So what we are looking to do this episode is try and find a suitable area for our low density structures for the rocket. This is where we are building the rocket control units, or will be. And I'm in the aircraft, but I've realized that we don't really need to fly up and down to do this zoom, because InfiniZoom actually will reveal terrain that we haven't yet revealed for us, so we can get a fair idea of what the scrolled out map looks like. Although we do need to fly around just a bit. Very jerky at this 15 frames per second at this zoom out. That looks like there's just some copper over here. That's probably not enough copper. We have these iron patches, which is a good start. How? Oh, I don't know, because I am not on that. Alright, let's zoom back to a usable zoom, and we'll have a look at just how big this copper patch is, because obviously with the low density structures we do need some copper as well. It's probably pretty good given where it is. 1.2 G, yeah, it's utterly massive. We could also use that 1.2 G, so there's a couple of sources of 1.2 G. This here is sort of in the way. We do have this iron and that iron, which is quite a lot of iron. We could just do some calculations, I guess, as to how much we are going to need. Low density structures. So yeah, the multiplier here is quite a lot higher than for the rocket control unit, because it's 10, 5, and 5. 10 steel in particular could be quite a challenge. So if we're doing 8 rockets per minute, that is basically 8,000 low, no, it's not 8,000. Well, it kind of is 8,000, but it's divided by 1.4, which gives us 5,714, but then we need to multiply it by 10 to get 57,143 steel, basically, which is going to be the biggest challenge. So how many steel refineries is 57,000 per minute? We basically do 17.5 a second when our furnaces are at 1 times. So if we divide by 60 and multiply by 17.5, that's suggesting we need 16,000 steel furnaces. Let's see what we can reduce that to. Alright, so crafting speed is 13.4. So we divide by 13.4, and productivity is an extra 20%, so we divide by 1.2. So we basically need 1,036 furnaces. Okay, that's rather a lot. But it probably makes sense, because steel does take rather a long time. And just a moment. And back. So, yeah, it's a very large amount of resources. Basically, when we divide that by the number of steel furnaces I can fit in one of my new smelter setups, we end up with, we need basically 22 of the new smelter setups, which is a hell of a lot. So I have come down here. We're going to see if we can find some more resource patches with our InfiniZoom friend. Hopefully I haven't made them so rare that nothing will show up. But there doesn't look like there's a lot there. Let's come back to something sensible. See if we can zoom around a little bit further. Try and find something. Maybe we just need to strike out. What I might end up doing is taking, like, it looks like the trees and things, we're painting stuff as we go here, so we obviously perhaps haven't actually forced Factorio to do what it's supposed to do. So I might need to fly around a bit until I can, I'm going to obviously have to run more than one. So for example, you know, put two off this, 2 off that, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe 10. But that's only halfway. We're also going to need quite a lot of copper, though not nearly as much, because it's only 5 times, and we don't have the super slow speed with the copper, so we can probably do a lot better there. But I think I'm going to have to do a bunch of this explore kind of off camera, because otherwise it will be a little bit tedious for you. So let me do some explore, and I'll come back to you when I think I have found the amount of resources that we seem to need. So I'll be back soon. And welcome back. So I was finding that the whole InfiniZoom really wasn't working. I mean, it will show you terrain that has already mapped out the ore, but it won't map out ore where it's not already mapped out. And so it wasn't very effective because it was mainly just showing blank space. So I've had to hit the map. Let's just move up a little bit. Hit the map the old-fashioned way. So I've been flying around looking for patches. I mean, we've got some, you know, they're kind of crazy in terms of volume, but the idea is this one actually isn't all that useful. It's 2.7 billion, but it's so small that I probably can't set up one of my train setups on it. But the point I'm trying to make is really what we're after is we don't really want to have to, in this playthrough, I don't really want to have to keep redressing where all the ore is being mined from and moving ore around. It's not really what it's about. What it is about is just setting up a factory, relying on random placement of ore per the map gen, but having enough there that we can kind of build and forget. And I'm hoping that's now going to be the case, although I calculated out that I'm going to need about 22 of my intended steel builds to make this work. And so to do that, what I'm going to do is, and if we look at one of these patterns, we're basically going all the way out here. I think I can remove these outer rows and just cut it down to this inner bit, and so would probably replace where these guys are, move them into the middle, so we'd rearrange where all the mining takes place, and that would be fine. My biggest problem actually is I don't have a symmetrical model to work from. My original one, I think this was my original one. Yeah, it's not symmetrical. Oh, lots of these are out of fuel. That's not good. Because I don't have a fuel system here for these. It's actually really, really bad. We're going to have to get back to that. We'll worry about that in due course. So what I want to do, I guess, is we'll basically take a copy of this guy for want of something better. I probably have the blueprint somewhere. We're going to want to place it down and then revise it, I think, anyway. So something like that. Now if we go to the map, I want to see where I can put this, because I was hoping to get like 2 or 3 deep. I mean 2's definitely possible. We can use Infinity Zoom when we're looking at things we've uncovered, just not stuff that's yet to be uncovered. Wow. I definitely aren't going to get 3 here. We're relying on the shape that I've got. But we could probably do 2. Let's whack down this pattern. That is different. Okay, good. What I want to do is basically... No, guys, come back. Come back. No, come back. Good. Right. I want to get rid of all of these. As we've just discussed. And of course all of these as well. This will be lucky to get very many. 2K, yeah. And then we're going to have to reorganize this interior area. In a way where these things are basically in the middle. So I want to be sure that the RoboPort coverage okay, it reaches out to about there, right? Doesn't quite reach here, but does reach these. You can just see it just there. So that's sort of where I want it to get to, and then that would mean that our mining drills, which we have none, we actually should probably put them both into the same box. That might be more efficient. How well this will go. Interesting. Nope, even that doesn't work. Right. Let's get rid of you. Yep. So what we can basically do is we can do something like that, where we have not optimized spacing, but we are fitting these guys in. And we could put something in here as well. So this part here is probably just going to end up being these guys. Actually have a whole lot of them. Kind of like so. Something like that. Power could potentially go in amongst these. We could potentially just have, say, the top half of these in here, like so, which would actually lend itself to allowing that. To that. Something like that. So is that a repeatable pattern? Yes, if we get rid of all of those. Which we still have not done. So this sort of thing as an alternate, which doesn't have as many minors as what we had previously, but it has the advantage of meaning that we can squeeze more into each iron patch, and so that's what we need to go for. Okay. Let's see if we can make this work. Doubling it up. I can't see if the patterns are crossing over. That's my only problem, so I need to actually get some power to here. Where's my nearest power? It shouldn't be too far away. Right, these ones should be powered up enough soon so that we can see how far apart we need to be. Obviously that's too close. Now I can see exactly. Get to there. Well, it does get us 2 in this on this patch, sort of. With a little bit of rearrangement along here. It's not ideal because of our lack of symmetry. Yeah. But it might do for now-ish. Maybe. Or the alternate is that I actually move these further this way. Because there's quite a large area here that we could move them. And then we could move this up closer, which would be better. Because we're losing the thickest part of this with the arrangement that we've actually got. So, if I was to take out all of these ones that have been powered up, and think we can only fit. Can we get 2 in there? pretty sure the second one is going to wipe that out. Yeah. Oh, it's wiped out the rail as well. So there's definitely some issues if we try and move it to here. We don't necessarily have to go that far though. We could go to here instead. That's still a little bit closer because we'd be gaining that from both sides. So you're still fine. If you're out here, you would not be fine, right? It's not until you get to there. It's very hard to, I think it's right here. That's green, that's covered, that's not, right. So that's as far as it goes. So I mean that would be a lot better if it was running there, and we would lose a level of efficiency with the miners. We'd have some extras here. We could put some in here. Okay. Let's try that plan instead. This gets at least 2 into this patch rather than the well, at least 2 rather than maybe 3 perhaps that we were hoping for. Not necessarily hoping for on this patch, but potentially as a design, hoping that we could reach that amount. So if we remove all of these guys, I don't want my bots to do it because they're going to start planting all of this stuff rather than doing what I want them to do, so that would just be annoying. So I guess now we can kind of fill in the spaces like this. And this isn't going to be the ultimate form of this mining either. This is only until such time as direct loading is going to work. Then we're going to have to rework it all. But for now, something like that, and then it's going to have to be spun round. Down here, let's get rid of all of this one. Now you can see how much closer already we can get it, but we'd be able to get it even closer to that sort of level if we move all of these down here in the same way that we have up there. So that is kind of the plan. We just make sure that it will fit. Yep. That's where we're going to go. Which, strangely enough, means that these ones that we were all but getting rid of are actually coming back, but they're just going to be feeding this side. So we can actually restore them. Stupid keyboard has sticky keys. So like that, I don't think this is wide enough really to fit another. And likewise up there. So the best we're going to get from here is 2. Now, I think because of the slower load of these, we are probably going to be able to use just one train, but it will go to 2 destinations as well. I haven't worked out yet exactly where the steel processing, the LDS processing will be. I guess sort of here, if we can get the steel sort of coming through. This copper's basically going to get shredded, but we can use copper here and here and here and here and here. There's plenty available. We don't need nearly as much. We probably need about 1/10 of the copper, because we'll be getting we'll be getting the efficiency of one of these sort of smelter arrangements rather than our steel one. But yeah, we basically want a double setup from that out here somewhere, and then rinse and repeat and try to get up to 3, because otherwise I'll need 11 of these. That's like 1, 2, I should certainly be able to get 3 there. So 2, 4, 7, maybe 10. I don't quite know how this is going to work. Lengthwise, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 maybe, 18, 19. I need 3 more somehow. Might need to find some more, or I mean there's up here. If I can get 3 on that, or this bit. Notwithstanding the fact that we need to multiply this by 3. And this is just for our launches, although I reckon the launches is about 1/3 of the whole base. If we look at the entire factory, all of this, even all this extended area, fits in like that. Remember, my last base was basically the whole screen, so we can expect the whole base to be something like the whole screen when we're done here as well, maybe more. And that's fine, that's perfectly legit. Where am I? I'm up there. Okay, so that returns there. I may need to flow these finished products through here, so I need to bear that in mind. Maybe it'd be best if these veered off and headed down to steel smelting this way. That might make a lot of sense. Yeah, that might make a lot of sense. So I guess we'd be looking to turn here. And then go into a... Oh, and I need to do some revision to the control here as well, because at the moment I basically say if there is no train up here, turn this guy off. And so it's only if there's 2 trains at the same time that this one empties. Otherwise it's always just taking from this end. Like for example, this is just emptied, the next train will come into this one, which is, it's not going to work. We need this side to empty as well, so I'm going to have to be a little bit smarter there as well, but that will have to wait till next episode, or even the one after. I'm not entirely sure just yet. Do I have this pattern sitting somewhere in my inventory? I quite possibly do. It's not exactly what we want. Vinny Zoom. It's not exactly what we want, but it is not terrible either. It might be too close to over here. We're getting a couple. Yeah, I might have to just move it over a bit. Maybe over to about here. 1. 2. Which would mean, let's get out of Infinity Zoom, which would mean that this is no good, and I keep forgetting that having my bots on means they're going to be running around laying a whole lot of stuff down that I haven't finalized yet, so that doesn't really work for me. So this one needs to come into here. But the return, instead of just coming straight back here, it actually needs to come up to here. So there's a bit of a crisscross. It's not going to be that messy because there's only going to be 1 train on it. Otherwise, if we need more, we just don't have the crisscross. So, alright, bots, you can do your thing to clear some stuff here. Okay, now that you've come back, out you go. I don't actually know exactly where that needs to come out. So that would be looping around to this one, which would then loop through that one. Whoops, I've overdone that. The only other thing is, though, this one here is going to have to cross, but it's not that much traffic, so I can live with it, I think. We'll start off with the premise that we can live with it, and we will run from there. As I'm sure I've said before, a lot of this factory is experimental, so we will just have to see. it's not too late to scrap stuff that's not working. If I can't get these supersized trains to work, we can always resort to 820s for the ore trains as well. If we have to, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Come on, bots. I don't know why they take the furthest away stuff. I'm standing here, I want this stuff immediately around me done first. Oh well, never mind. Sure, there's a very good reason why it's done the way it's done. But there you go. So that's how they can basically loop around. If we have a look at it from InfiniZoom, you can see that the train parks here. It comes through this one first. Actually, maybe we need to go out even further on InfiniZoom to some ridiculous level. So the train, we're slightly too far now. In fact, it's kind of impossible to see, I guess, but yeah, the train will go through here. The two bits will line up into these two smelter stacks. It will wrap round on its way back. It will come up to the top part, or wrap round down to this one, come back, then back to the bottom one. That's how that works. I am not 100% sure if one can handle 3. I guess that's something that I can do some maths on. Hopefully it will. But that's the general idea for the train. Now this is all going to change a bit as well, because it's not just requester chests to a shared requester chest to a shared supply chest. We basically have a supply of iron ore that will then get passed through a chest to steel smelting, and the thing is that 5 iron can feed 6 steel smelters. So how we set it up is basically a length of, or 2 lengths of 11 in each row, 5 iron with 6 steel on the outer sides of it. So steel, iron, steel, iron, steel, iron, steel, iron, etc. to a point where you get steel, steel at the crossover, and we'll have to reorganize exactly where they all fit and so on for the number that we have, because it's a different number to the number that's here. Of course it's going to build the whole thing out for me now. Very kind of it. Just as well I don't have any furnaces, because that would mess everything up. What I really wanted to know was how many furnaces do we have here. I think I've actually got 23. Okay, so 23 is one too many, so we have to lose that one. But yes, I think we've done enough for this episode, so thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next, where we will further advance our steel build. See you then, guys. Bye bye for now.